Do you enjoy? Is this what gamers want? That was the question posed to the chat, and it set off a bit of an argument among those on the right. By the way, let me know if my mic, I did a lot of moving around with settings on the mic, so let me know if it's all right. Let me know if it's sounding good. If there's something wrong, I'd like to know about it ahead of time. So, and this, we got a little dance here. This is from First Descendant. I think this character is kind of based around music. It looks like there's some sort of DDR type of, like a rhythm game you have to play while doing this. That apparently gives buffs or does damage. Who knows? The character is, like kind of like a sound. Looks like a sound sort of support character. But I don't play First Descendant, so I actually don't know anything about it. So this Pirate Nation here asked, is this what gamers want? And then immediately you have, oh my gosh. You have Rosary Warrior, John F. Trent. No. He's the editor of the sort of Fandom Pulse, which is something on Substack that covers anti-woke. The anti-woke crowd was split on this. Here's Dread Robots. Let's read what he says here. Any person with a modicum of decency would say no. This is not where the future of gaming should be headed. Oh, should. Already we're getting into interesting word choices. The constant promotion of half-naked women as the greener side of gaming is getting ridiculous. And I'm beginning to think that these people who say they want to save, in quotation marks, gaming, don't actually want to save it. So many claim to care about morals and the future generations, and not giving an inch of progress to devs who push woke ideology or whatever else. But then they turn around and tell men and women to support titles that throw this stuff in your face. Most of what I've seen for months from these accounts are butt cheeks and cleavage. Seriously, how is this making gaming better? All we're doing is pushing normies in the same direction, but on a parallel track. People may argue, we just want to push back on the ugly woman agenda, just trying to make a point to the lefty weirdos. Okay, ellipses. So where do we draw the line then? Because there doesn't appear to be one. This is why I say we need real adults with real ambitions / aspirations and a mature outlook on the future to lead the charge in this industry. People who have their priorities straight and their arousal in check. Wow. Their arousal in check. But Melanie Mack also had to, this obviously not for kind of controversial, is like some likes, about 4.6K likes and a lot of replies, 2.7K replies. Melanie Mack decided, well, we have Jonathan Trent here. He's on the side of, no, we don't like her. So let's talk with Melanie Mack here. I agree with this take. I've been fighting with y'all. I hate the word y'all. If you're not Southern, and you're using this unironically, I don't know what to tell you. Against the woke mob turning female characters into troons. I like characters to look attractive, but I don't want to be lumped in with those pushing for practically softcore porn in character design. That's degenerate. Curvy female characters like classic Lara Croft, great. But curvy characters almost completely naked doing stripper dances, no thanks. Muscular male characters, awesome. But these mods with Leon Kennedy and a jockstrap, degenerate. No thanks. We can want characters to look good without advocating for porn. Whoa, I didn't know First Descendant was porn. And of course, she also, going into this, not everyone in the anti-woke gaming crowd wants porn games. Many of us are anti-porn. Wanting characters and art to look good doesn't mean we're allied with, oh no, coomers and perverts. Y'all can be mad, but I'm just fine not being on your team. We were never on the same team, Melanie. We were never on the same team. So this is what. So let's get into this, because this is why times like this, I'm glad I don't kind of shy away from the word woke when I'm talking about these kind of issues, because this kind of becomes a container word for anything I think is bad. So here's the thing. Is this what gamers want? Absolutely. Gamers want sexy women. But this is the issue. This is the issue we get into here with like guys like Dread Roberts and some of like the really traditional conservatives, trad cath type of guys, is they think this is wrong, or they want their morals pushed through games, which, but to be fair, I would like traditional morality pushed through things as well, but not in the sense that kind of like bravery, heroism, men being men, fighting heroic, rescuing women, stuff that isn't necessarily, it's good for overall morality, but it isn't like in your face, like, whoa, like we need to have X amount of a woman covered up, not this like autistic type of like just traditional timeless sort of values for men and women. When you get into this, you're just essentially he's just doing the same thing. I mean, the reason why we talk about we just want to push back on the ugly women agenda. Why is there a push to make women ugly by mainstream media? And the reason is simply because there's this idea that if you have sexualized women or sexualized depictions of women in video games, that is going to lead to real world harm of women. It's encouraging it. And ironically enough, guys like Dread Roberts or Melanie Mack or these other guys believe the exact same thing. They believe sexualized depictions of women in video games will lead to real world harm. They might, vary in, how that real world harm shows up, whether it's, degeneracy of society. Meanwhile, the leftists believe, it just a guy sees a sexualized depiction of a woman in video games, like, whoa, I should harass and sexualize every woman I meet. Both, again, are both believe the sort of male sex drive is something that's evil and needs to be discouraged in a social sense, through the levers of social morality, essentially. So the reason why guys like Pirate Nation, I don't know if he's necessarily doing it, but the general idea is that male desire is okay. Like men like this. Men like this type of thing. It's we like skinny women. She's having fun. She's obviously very feminine body. Men like this. They enjoy this. They're attracted to it. This is a beautiful woman, beautiful blonde hair, and a skimpy outfit. Men like this, and there shouldn't be anything wrong with this. And since video games are, the idea is that we want to return to a point where video games are being made for men again, where our fantasies aren't treated as evil. Like, oh, wow, this is a beautiful woman. Yeah, I'd like this in my game. In my fantasy game, it's not reality. So, yeah, I want, woman having fun, doing a little dance, and a little, like, half winter outfit. Got a, like, winter hat, like some sort of sexy Russian cheerleader here. That's great. That video games should be the sort of playground of male fantasy, because men are who keep this industry alive. They're made for men. We want video games to be made for the men. And we don't want to be lectured by video games that treat our desires as evil. So when people like, this isn't like, it goes on and talks about the morals. Again, this is a work of fiction. It's art. The idea that every game has to sort of push some sort of morality is stupid. One of the reasons video games are cool is because you get to explore morality. Like, you get to kill people, do things outside of the social norms that are fun. And it's fun, it's fun to go on a rampage in GTA. Violence is another thing that's very much a male desire that you can't do in real life. Every part of society discourages you from violence, but in video games, hey, really enjoy. You can really get that bloodlust going and enjoy it. These, again, are fantasies. They don't encourage actual real life violence, and everybody knows that. And even guys like this would say, it's ridiculous that violent video games cause shootings. Yet, again, you can see why Anita Sarkeesian was able to get such an easy foothold. Because guys like this agree with Anita Sarkeesian that sexualized depictions are bad, that they do lead to bad outcomes. They just accept it wholesale, even though there's no real evidence to suggest that. No actual scientific evidence to suggest this leads to anything. But they're totally okay with it when you look at Melanie Mack things, how do you decide what is okay? So he says Laura Croft's okay, and someone points out Laura's back and has her in a swimsuit, and then I've muted Melanie Mack, so just come on my timeline. They use some secondary marketing images. She's okay with her in a bikini, but she's not okay with this. And this is what happens when you let church moms decide what's acceptable and what isn't. This is one of the issues I have with a lot of these traditional conservatives, tradcath types. Because men don't care. Men like this stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, they're not really going to fight against this type of stuff unless they want to get the approval of women. And that's what it comes down to. It's whatever woman can get most offended, can cause most of a stir. She's the one that sets the standard here, like what is acceptable and what isn't. So in the end, you just end up in the longhouse. Either way, you just end up in the longhouse, and that's not the direction I want video games to go in. I want video games that promote men, that are made for men, that respect men. We don't need women to decide what is or isn't okay in our video games. They aren't the primary players of video games. They aren't the primary driver of video games. They don't make video games. I mean, they do to some extent, but nowhere near the same amount of men. Why are we letting them decide what is and isn't? And this whole idea of like, we need adults to push, we said we need real adults with ambition and aspiration and mature outlook on the future to lead the charge. And lead what? Here's the issue. One of the big issues with video games right now is we have people that are trying to push their morality. We have liberal activists in video games trying to push their morality. The reason these narratives are so shit is because they have to hire consultants and check with people, whatever, like 20 different groups aren't going to be offended by, a joke or their inclusion of this. We have, I didn't include it today, but, Magic the Gathering, whose card games, just decided to totally rename one of their planes Kaladesh because one of their consultants said, Kala kind of means black and could be like a black slur in a different languages. So they're just completely removing that plane. They're going to rename it to something else. Just like that. Just throw away your history because, someone may be offended by it. And this is what we don't need in the industry. We need people that are free to express themselves, to experiment. Let the market decide what is and is acceptable. Like if it's that offensive, then people just won't buy it. It'll be a failure. But no, these guys cannot have that happen. They're too worried that, the second they want to get control of the culture, we'll go to, this is too much. We need to get rid of this character. This is too violent. Violence against women, we can't have that in our video game. That's going to encourage young boys to do bad things. They believe in the same exact thing. It's just an assault on men and masculinity. And it's unfortunate to see. That because I mean, in some cases we obviously agree, but not really. In a lot of ways, we don't. We don't. I want more of this in my game. It doesn't necessarily have to be in my game, but I certainly don't mind it. I'd rather games be marketed to men, and fully accepting of the fact that, hey, you like this, guys? Like, yes, we do. I don't need Melanie Mac. I also love like this phrasing. Not everyone in the anti-woke gaming crowd. Why are people identifying themselves as anti-woke? I guess that's the thing, but it's such a mistake, I believe. And I'll cover another thing that I think is a mistake later on, but why be anti-woke? Why not be pro something, like pro awesome video games? But that's the thing. That's their identity. They're just anti-woke. They're not like pro male. They don't have like a pro gaming outlook as far as like what they want. They just know what they don't want. They're fighting against what they don't want. It's just such a weird phrasing. And I think one of the issues I have with a lot of this scene, where, people like woke, DEI, yada, yada. I mean, yeah, it's an issue, but like, what do you want from your video game? Because I want stuff like this, similar, or just, fun. I just want stuff to be fun and a good time. Look, this girl's having fun. I enjoy looking at her. What's the issue? This isn't degeneracy. And like some people pointed out, like, we haven't won anything. We haven't won anything yet. Culture is very much in the control of leftists. Why are you taking an issue that's unpopular and then trying to push this? They're already like creating fractures in the movement, but overall, I don't care. I kind of don't care if there is fractures, because I mean, the reason DEI is failing isn't because Melanie Mac's pushing up against it. It's because the stuff they're making is shit. That's why it's failing, because men don't like ugly women. They just don't. And we'll talk about Intergalactic a little bit later, but it's not because JT Smash is making videos. It's, great. I'm glad people are making money, like pointing out the ridiculousness of it. And hopefully that'll encourage other people to kind of like speak out against it and be more vocal on it. But overall, the reason woke games will fail is because woke games are ultimately garbage. It's their own lack of merit.